Halloween interwebs. As regular viewers could probably guess by now, I love Dungeons & Dragons, and part of what I love about it is the staggering catalog and variety of monsters. As close as I can figure it, D&D has 4 basic monster subgroups. You've got public domain monsters, such as goblins and the eponymous dragons. You've also got OC Do Not Steal monsters that tend towards the strange, such as gelatinous cubes and rust monsters. Then you've got the monsters that the DM uses to communicate their dislike of your new character and expedite their demise. Those will be your mimics and trappers. Lastly, you've got hybrid monsters, like the infamous yet beloved owlbear. Most of these also fit into the first category of public domain. Examples include griffins, manticores, chimeras, and sphinxes, and distinguishing a griffin from a hippogriff or a sphinx from a manticore can be confusing at times, so that's what this video will be about. After all, what better video for Halloween than one about monsters? First is the Pegasus. Strictly speaking, Pegasus was the name of one specific winged horse from Greek mythology, whom Bellerophon rode to slay the chimera. More on chimeras later. According to TV tropes, the name for winged horses in the abstract is Teripi, but I wasn't able to verify that anywhere else more credible. Over time, the name Pegasus has come to refer to the entire mythical species of horses with eagle wings, akin to how any snake-haired woman is a Medusa, who, as an aside, also happened to be the mother of Pegasus. Yeah, mythology is so fast and loose with what can emerge from whom that when Rhea gave her husband a rock and claimed it was their kid, he didn't question it. A winged horse may have jumped out of Medusa's fresh neck stump, but meanwhile up north, Loki was busy giving birth to one with 8 legs. Just so we're clear, if the horse has 8 legs, that's Sleipnir, but if it has wings, it's Pegasus. Unless it's a hippogriff. Next up, hippogriffs. These are a lot like Pegasus. Pegasoi? Let's try that again. A hippogriff is a lot like a Pegasus, as both are horse-eagle hybrids, but the main difference is that a hippogriff has the entire eagle for a front half, complete with head and taloned forelimbs, whereas the Pegasus only has the wings. If your hippogriff has the back of a lion or other big cat instead of a horse, that's a griffin. Griffins sometimes also have feline forelimbs in place of bird feet. If you take a griffin and give it a human head in front and a serpent tail in back, you now have a Greek sphinx. This shouldn't be confused with an Egyptian sphinx. While both of them feature human heads on feline bodies, only the Greek sphinx has wings and a snake-headed tail. Additionally, Egyptian sphinxes typically have a male head, and one can be referred to as an androsphinx. The Greek sphinxes are female-headed, and one would be called a gynosphinx. A similar creature from the general eastern Mediterranean area is the Assyrian lamassu. This too has wings and a man's head, but sometimes it has the body of a bull. Other times, though, it has the body of a lion, which may be part of the reason why it's also been referred to as the Babylonian sphinx. This combination of human, feline, bovine, and aquiline features is something of a recurring idea throughout mythology. This may be because the eagle was seen as the king of birds, the lion was seen as the king of wild beasts, the ox was similarly the lord of domesticated animals, and humans are there because we're just so great. Even Christian mythology has a combination of the 4 in the form of the cherub. If that last sentence confuses you, you probably think this is a cherub, but you'd be wrong. That's a puto and he can piss off back to a Van Halen cover. This is a cherub. It has the faces of a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle, 2 pairs of wings, and bovine hooves. Honestly, old-school heaven has as much body horror as Dante's Inferno. Azrael, the angel of destruction and renewal, is reputed to have 4,000 wings and 70,000 feet, and a body made of as many eyeballs and tongues as there are people presently alive. Returning to leonine-bodied monsters, we next have the manticore. Like the androsphinx, the manticore has the face or head of a man and the body of a lion. Additionally, the head has triple rows of teeth, and it has a tail armed with venomous spines like porcupine quills. According to some accounts, these spines can be shot like arrows. Other versions replace these with a scorpion's stinger. Other versions have also added wings as well. However, this feature is absent from all classical depictions, so I'm not going to include those, and D&D needs to get its act together. One of the first sources to describe a winged lion with a stinger tail and a man's head was Dante's Inferno, in which Geryon is described as a beast with enormous dragon-like wings with the paws of a lion, a serpentine body, and a scorpion's poisonous sting at the tip of its tail, but with the face of, quote, an honest man, unquote. Finally, we have the chimera which I promised you at the very beginning. If you thought depictions of the manticore have changed over time, oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. And yes, D&D screwed this one up too. Originally, the chimera was just a single creature from Greek mythology, much like Pegasus. It was basically just a lion with a snake-headed tail like a gynosphinx and an extra goat head, because who doesn't want a spare goat head, just in case. Oh yeah, it could also breathe fire. The earliest account we have of one comes from Homer's Iliad. It was, quote, a thing of immortal make, not human, lion-fronted and snake behind, a goat in the middle, and snorting out the breath of the terrible flame of bright fire, unquote. According to Hesiod's Theogony, quote, "She was the mother of Chimera, who breathed raging fire, a creature fearful, great, swift-footed and strong, who had 3 heads, one of a grim-eyed lion, in her hinder part a dragon, and in her middle a goat, breathing forth a fearful blast of blazing fire. Her did Pegasus and noble Bellerophon slay." Unquote. Dungeons & Dragons has consistently portrayed it as distinctly more draconic, with bat-like wings and replacing the serpent-headed tail with a dragon head and moving it to the front. Chimera has also become one of the most common go-to names when a fictional hybrid creature is created, and the name is broadly associated with any mix-and-match monster that doesn't fit into any other categories. Related to the Chimera in more ways than one is another multi-headed serpent-tailed monster, Kerberos. Yes, that Kerberos, guard dog of the underworld. In a previous video, I described Kerberos as, quote, Hades' 3-headed pooch, unquote. And while most depictions, especially more modern ones, show him as exactly that, it hasn't always been the case. The earliest description we have of Kerberos comes from Hesiod's Theogony, and in it the Hellhound's got 50 heads. Feel free to check my math, but I'm pretty sure 50 is a lot more than 3. It's still only half of 100, though, which is how many heads Pindar ascribed to him. Most later writers whittled it down to 3, and Roman poet Horace gave Spot a single dog head. Perhaps to make up for this, though, he also gave him 100 snake heads. Apollodorus and John Tzetzes both gave him 3 dog heads, as well as a bunch of snake heads, and many depictions give him a snake-headed tail. Kerberos having snake parts, whatever they may be, makes more sense than a lot of Greek monsters, since both his parents had serpentine features as well. His father was the many snake-headed Typhon, and his mother was the serpentine monster Echidna, which makes Kerberos the brother of both the Chimera and the Greek Sphinx. I know this may be a lot to wrap your head around with so many monsters sharing a relatively small pool of animal traits, especially when different depictions of the same monster disagree on exactly what parts it's supposed to have, so to help I made this handy table of what monsters get which bits. If you happen to spot one in the wild, I recommend running very fast and trying to find a high-level mage or a solid 4-bore stopping rifle, whichever comes first. If you're having trouble identifying it, I also prepared this simple and efficient flowchart, which distinguishes each of the creatures covered by their various attributes. Links to both of these images are in the description. I hope you never have to use it, but if it does save your bacon from the Chimera's fire somewhere down the line, why not show your appreciation and thank me for taking the time to create this guide by purchasing one of my books on Amazon. I can't and won't monetize this channel, so just a few bucks from a book sale goes a long way in keeping these videos going. Thanks for watching, sharing, and hopefully reading. Have a nice day.